The stars on his shoulders gleamed under the flickering diner lights, polished silver against the deep navy of his army dress blues. Lieutenant General Terrence Vaughn, age 52, had known war zones, command rooms, and diplomatic standoffs that would send lesser men into retreat. He'd led battalions in hostile territories, briefed 3 presidents, and overseen missions still sealed from public knowledge. But none of that mattered in the dusty parking lot of a nowhere town called Coleridge, Virginia, when 2 local cops decided that a black man in uniform was too much of a contradiction to be true. Terrence hadn't planned to stop long. Just a quick bite before his final stretch to Fort Bragg. He had a 0700 briefing to deliver regarding a top-level security overhaul, but hunger gnawed louder than duty. Ruby's Diner stood alone near the off-ramp, its buzzing neon sign promising hot food and a slice of quiet. After 6 hours on the road, that sounded like a sanctuary. He pulled his rental car into the lot, turned off the ignition, and stepped out, boots clicking against the cracked pavement. Inside, truckers nursed coffee, families ate late-night dinners, and a jukebox whispered twangy country melodies. Terrence nodded politely as he entered, the bell on the door jingling. A young waitress with a ponytail smiled and gestured toward a booth by the window. "Traveling through?" she asked, handing him a laminated menu. "Just passing by," Terrence replied, voice calm, rehearsed over years of defusing tension in rooms full of armed men and fragile egos. Headed south for a meeting. He ordered a cheeseburger and black coffee, took out his phone, and thumbed through a list of unread emails. A text from his wife popped up. "Be safe. Let me know when you get in. Love you." He smiled faintly, typing back a quick response. Outside, Officers Blake Ramsey and Trevor Holt leaned against their cruiser, sipping gas station coffee, scanning the lot like it was a battlefield. They noticed the rental car, the out-of-state tags, the man in uniform. It didn't compute. Ramsey, bloated and bitter, squinted through the smoke of his cigarette. "Nice costume," he muttered. "Bet he got that at a surplus store." Holt, younger, buzz-cut sharp, nodded. "Military plates. But he don't move like a soldier." Neither checked the plates. Neither called it in. They didn't need facts, just a target. Inside, Terrence finished his meal slowly, savoring the greasy comfort. The waitress, whose name tag read Caitlin, refilled his coffee without being asked. "You stationed near here?" she asked casually. "Fort Bragg," he said. "But I've been around." She nodded, eyes lingering a bit longer. Something about the way he carried himself firm, but not boastful, struck her as different. Genuine. She offered a kind smile. He left her a generous tip, stood, adjusted his tie, and headed toward the door. As he stepped into the cold night air, the wind bit sharp. His breath fogged the air. He reached into his pocket for his keys, mentally preparing for the last leg of the trip. "Hey, you stop right there." Terrence froze. The voice was raw, authoritative, and hostile. He turned slowly, shoulders squared, facing Ramsey and Holt. "Evening, officers," he said, hands clearly visible, body posture relaxed but alert. Ramsey stepped forward, flashlight aimed straight into his eyes. "That's a hell of a get-up you're wearing. Mind telling me where you got it?" "It's not a get-up," Terrence replied, tone neutral. "I'm Lieutenant General Terrence Vaughn, U.S. Army." Holt circled around, smirking. "General, huh? You got ID for that story?" Terrence nodded. "Left pocket. Wallet's in there." Ramsey's hand drifted toward his holster. Slowly, Terrence complied, using 2 fingers to draw out his wallet. Holt snatched it, flipped it open, scanned the military ID and the Defense Department credentials, then tossed it to Ramsey with a shrug. "Could be fake," Ramsey sneered. "You don't look like any general I know." Terrence's eyes didn't waver. "How many black generals have you met, officer? Or is it just that I don't match your mental picture?" The tension thickened. A few late-night patrons stood near the diner door, phones out. Caitlin stepped outside, arms crossed, watching. The gas station attendant across the street lingered near the pump, pretending to check the price. "You got smart answers, huh?" Ramsey growled. "Let's see how smart you are after we verify your fantasy." Terrence stood firm. "Call Fort Bragg. Ask for Colonel Yasmin Carter. She'll confirm who I am." Holt scoffed. We're not calling your girlfriend for bedtime stories. Hands on the car. Now. Terrence shook his head. I'm not resisting, but I'm not complying with an unlawful order. You have no probable cause. That did it. Ramsey lunged. He grabbed Terrence's arm, yanked it behind his back, and slammed him chest first onto the hood of the car. The steel was ice cold through his uniform. Cuffs clicked into place, tight enough to cut circulation. You're under arrest for impersonating an officer and resisting, Ramsey hissed. Bet you didn't see that coming, General. Terrence didn't shout, didn't fight. He just looked back, voice steady. My phone's in my right pocket. Call the number labeled Pentagon. Do it now, or you'll wish you had. Ramsey chuckled, pushing him into the cruiser. Save the bluff for court. Caitlin stepped closer, voice shaking but insistent. He didn't do anything wrong. Ramsey snapped. Back off or get cuffed too. But she didn't move. At the Coleridge Police Department, Terrence sat cuffed in a holding room, chained to a steel table. The room smelled like bleach and old sweat. His uniform now wrinkled, sleeve dirty from the hood. Ramsey and Holt lingered near the doorway, chuckling, trading war stories about fake officers and internet cons. He probably bought that ID on eBay, Holt said. Terrence didn't respond. His mind moved with precision. Clock on the wall. 11:47 p.m. Each tick counted. He had faced worse. At 23, a security guard once stopped him entering his own base. At 38, a general's aide questioned his clearance at a NATO briefing. Every time he stayed composed. Tonight would be no different. The door creaked. Police Chief Owen Callahan entered, gray-haired, eyes tired, holding Terrence's ID. This says you're a 3-star general. That true? Terrence met his gaze. Yes. If your officers had bothered to check, they'd know I'm scheduled for a 0700 briefing at Fort Bragg. They had no grounds to arrest me. Callahan glanced at Ramsey. He was mouthy, didn't cooperate. Terrence leaned forward. I gave my ID, suggested you verify it. I complied with every request short of unlawful detention. You let your officers act like vigilantes. Callahan rubbed the back of his neck. Fine. One call. But if this is a game, Terrence cut him off. Put on speaker. You want to hear this? He dialed. The line clicked. Office of the Deputy Secretary. This is General Vaughn. I need Secretary Langston. Priority 1. A pause. Yes, sir. Connecting. Ramsey laughed. You serious, right? Then a voice thundered from the speaker. General Vaughn? Where the hell are you? Coleridge, Virginia. Arrested for impersonation. Cuffed. Detained without cause. I need this resolved now. There was a beat of silence. Then came the firestorm. Who am I speaking to? Barked Secretary Elaine Langston. Callahan cleared his throat. Owen Callahan, Chief of Police. Langston didn't miss a beat. Chief Callahan, you have a decorated war hero in your jail. A man who's led missions you can't even spell, and you arrested him because your officers can't identify rank? Release him now. If he isn't out in 5 minutes, I'm dispatching a military police unit from Bragg and placing a call to your governor. The room froze. Ramsey stared at the floor. Holt backed into the wall. Callahan waved frantically. Get the cuffs off now. Keys dropped. Holt scrambled, unlocking the restraints with trembling hands. Terrence stood slowly, rolled his wrists, eyes sweeping across them all. This wasn't a mistake, he said quietly. This was a choice. You saw a black man and assumed fraud. That's not a lapse in judgment, that's systemic failure. He walked out. The door slammed behind him. By sunrise, the story exploded. Cell phone videos of the arrest flooded social media. Hashtag soared. General Vaughn, justice in Coleridge. Caitlin went on record, describing the arrest in vivid detail. That man was calm, respectful, everything you'd expect from a leader. And they treated him like a criminal because of his skin. Within hours, national news outlets picked it up. Protests bloomed outside the Coleridge PD. See us, don't cuff us. Ramsey was placed on unpaid leave. Holt was reassigned to desk duty. Body cam footage leaked Ramsey calling Terrence a wannabe in costume. Holt laughing. The Pentagon launched a federal inquiry. A nationwide review of law enforcement interaction with black service members began. Complaints stacked stories that had gone unheard until now. Terrence never returned to Coleridge. He didn't need to. The story was no longer just his. It became a movement. Back at Fort Bragg, Colonel Carter greeted him with a hug. "You good, sir? Takes more than bad cops to break me," he said. A young lieutenant later approached him, voice trembling. "How do you keep going, sir?" "You don't just keep going," Terrence said. "You carve your path. Make them see you, not their fears." Months passed. Coleridge changed. Chief Callahan stepped down. A new police chief was sworn in, a black woman from Philadelphia with a reputation for accountability. Bias training became mandatory. Schools began teaching about black military leaders. Churches held forums on healing. One night, Sheila showed him a photo online. Terrence at Ruby's, smiling. Caption: "Heroes don't bend." He shook his head. "They see you," Sheila whispered. Terrence thought of his father, a Vietnam vet who once said, "You don't need fire to burn a man. Truth burns deeper." And it had. The cuffs, the slam, the sneers, those scars remained. But so did Caitlin's courage, Langston's fury, Sheila's steady hand. Coleridge was one battle. The war? Still ongoing. But that night, with truth as his armor, Terrence Vaughn won.